If your church has recently started live streaming their services on YouTube or on Facebook, you might have gotten an email or notification about copyright claims. You might have even had a live stream shut down just completely in the middle of a service with some kind of vague notification about music and copyright. So if you have questions like, why did I get this copyright claim? Did I do anything wrong? And how do I fix it? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Hi, I'm Dave Dolphin at practicalworshipblog.com, sharing ideas, tips, and practical advice for the worship leader that has to do it all. If you're trying to figure out how to do all the little extra things that comes along with leading a worship ministry, like understanding cameras and live streaming and music copyright, hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell right next to it, and we'll be here to help every single week with new videos. For many of us, 2020 was the year that we got catapulted into live streaming. We had to become experts super quick in things like setting up cameras and how do we use Facebook and YouTube to broadcast our services to people in their homes. So it's easy to feel frustrated when you get emails or notifications about copyright claims and you don't understand why it's happening. And it's especially frustrating when you're like, I know that I have the proper licensing from CCLI and it says that I can live stream to places like Facebook and YouTube. So what am I doing wrong? So here's how we're going to structure this video, because I feel like there's a couple of things that you need to understand when it comes to using copyrighted music in your uploads or your live streams on a place like YouTube or Facebook. Because if you know what's going on behind the scenes, it helps you to know how to fix it in the future. So I want to talk about that first. And if you stay to the end of the video, I will share with you my tips on how to solve some of the most common problems that churches run into, including my one pro tip on how you can prevent your live stream from being shut down on Sunday, because you already know in advance how YouTube or Facebook will respond. The first thing to know is that there's actually two types of copyright going on here. There is the essence of a song, that's the lyrics and the chords and the melody. When your worship band plays a song in your service, you're using the essence of that song. But there's also a copyright on the master recording, the actual recording of that artist performing that song. And Facebook and YouTube treat these two uses, these two types of copyright, differently. So it's different when you perform an elevation worship song than to use the actual recording of elevation worship performing that same song. Now, the second thing that you need to know is that it actually depends on the owner of that song on whatever YouTube or Facebook is going to do when you use their song in a video. A long time ago, in the beginning stages of YouTube, they were under an extreme amount of pressure from the music industry because people kept uploading videos of them in their bedroom on an acoustic guitar performing their favorite songs, or maybe using a master recording along with maybe some video of their latest vacation. So YouTube went to each copyright owner and said, hey, when someone uses your song, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to allow it and maybe share in some or all of the ad revenue? Or do you want us to just block it and not allow that person to use your song in their video? And YouTube gave copyright owners these options for both if someone uses the essence of a song, if they perform the song, or if they use the master recording in their video. So let me bust this myth, because there's not this blanket thing that happens on YouTube that says that if you find copyrighted material, just shut it down. It really does depend on each and every song, and it really depends on the use, whether it's the essence or the master recording of that song. If you've ever gotten a copyright claim notice, that's really not anything to worry about. That just means that YouTube recognized that you used a copyrighted song in your video, and they might run ads on it or whatever the agreement is that they have with the original owner of that song. If you get a copyright strike, that's a little bit more serious, but a copyright claim doesn't mean that you're in trouble or that you did anything wrong or that your account's going to be suspended, even if the claim says that your video is blocked. Now, you might be saying, I have the streaming license from CCLI, and it says specifically that I'm allowed to stream to places like Facebook or YouTube. You might even have the new Streaming Plus license that says that you can use master recordings in your live stream. And you're right, those licenses do give you the proper permission for the songs in their library. You are 100% legal, but these automated systems that YouTube and Facebook have are going to trump any licenses you might have with CCLI. Churches that are live streaming their services on YouTube or Facebook really make up a small percentage of their user base on these platforms. And so there's really not a great way to tell YouTube or Facebook that you have these licenses. So posting your CCLI number in the comments or saying something like, we don't own the rights to these songs, really doesn't do anything. But here's what you can do to solve some of the common problems that churches run into when they are live streaming and using copyrighted music. If your band is performing a worship song as part of the service on a live stream, you really shouldn't have any problem. You might get a copyright claim. You might even, there's a small chance that you get an ad that plays at the beginning of the video, but you shouldn't have your stream taken down or your account flagged or anything like that. Now, if you're performing a mainstream song like by Justin Bieber or Shawn Mendes, like as a walk-in song, there is a small chance that maybe the owner of that song doesn't allow for covers to be in uploads or on live stream. But I think an overwhelming majority of songwriters, especially those that are specifically writing songs for churches like ours to use in our services, that they've already told YouTube that it's okay for covers of the songs to be on their platforms. They might want to share in some ad revenue, but there are a few that might get you blocked. Now, it gets trickier when you use pre-recorded music. Maybe someone sings a solo with an original master recording accompaniment track, or someone uses a song underneath a youth highlight video for the mission trip. The music that you use before and after the service, like your pre-service music, that can trigger a copyright claim. And there's a greater number of artists that might allow you to perform a cover of a song, but not necessarily use the original recording of a song. And keep in mind, if your band is using tracks from a place like multitracks.com or Loop Community, and those tracks are from the original master recordings from the original artist, that might trigger a copyright claim. Now, if your mix is mostly live instruments and you're flying in maybe the occasional keyboard part or guitar part, you're fine. But if most of the mix is coming from those pre-recorded tracks, maybe there's just a keyboard and a guitar and some vocals on stage, but you're flying in drums and bass and lead lines and all that kind of stuff, then you might get a copyright claim. And then YouTube and Facebook are going to apply whatever rules, whatever predetermined agreements that they have with that artist based on using the master recording in a video. So consider that, and also make sure that none of your pre or post music is getting into your live stream. For us, we use copyrighted music like before the service starts, but when we start our live stream, we actually switch over to a countdown video, and the music in that is royalty free from a website like soundstripe.com that we know is not going to trigger a copyright claim. So the million-dollar question becomes, how do I know what YouTube and Facebook are going to do when I use a particular piece of copyrighted music? Because the last thing you want to do is find out right in the middle of your service that YouTube's going to block it when they shut it down. So here is my one pro tip. Upload a separate video to YouTube. Take like your midweek rehearsal, record that as a video and upload that to YouTube. If you want to know if your usage of tracks is going to trigger something, or maybe there's a specific song that you would like to be able to use in a slideshow, upload that as a separate video to YouTube. It can be marked as private or unlisted, but those copyright scans, those systems are still going to kick in, and you will know pretty quickly what the policy is on that song and that usage in your video. The video that you actually use in this video really doesn't matter, unless of course it's copyrighted too, like from a TV show or from a movie. But get maybe like a wide shot of the stage, or just use color bars, but make sure that you capture the audio in the same exact way as you will do it on Sunday. Now, another vital piece when it comes to live streaming on Facebook or on YouTube and making that great really comes down to the broadcast mix. The better the audio sounds, the more engaging that video is going to be. So if you want to see how we set up our broadcast mix audio, check out that video right there. That one down there is pretty good as well. Choose one of those videos, and I'll see you in the next one.